To whom it may concern, I'm writing to the Tenderloin Station of the San Francisco Police Department to commend the actions of two of your officers, Officer Ramirez, badge number redacted, and Officer Schlegel, badge number redacted, as pertains to case number redacted. Late in the evening of June, redacted 2021, I was conducting a lively live stream broadcast in the Tenderloin district when I was set upon by a pair of knife-wielding brigands, one of whom was later found to have been a convicted ISIL terrorist who was freshly out of federal prison on parole. This undeserving parolee took it upon himself to set about repeatedly stabbing me in the back while I was entangled in defending myself against an attack by his cohort. After landing a left elbow blow on the knifeman's offending arm, my defense against the knifing proved to be effective in preserving my life, but I was left with a pair of lengthy lacerations on my lower back and some smaller accompanying wounds. Blessedly, and in keeping with the cowardly nature of those who attack lone individuals and armed groups, the knifeman took to his heels in flight upon meeting resistance. The knifeman's accomplice had been able to wrest my 4.5 pounds in weight camera rig out of my grasp as I released one hand to throw the elbow blow to stop the knifing. The attacker turned robber, now equipped with my camera rig, swung it like a baseball bat with a deadly level of force at my head. I blocked this with my left forearm, thwarting the intent of the blow and surprising the attacker, who then backed off and proceeded to attempt to destroy the photographic evidence of the attack. After what I will here describe as a brief chat between adversaries involving themes of religiously tinged violence and looming prison sentences, I gathered up some bits and pieces of my photographic equipment and walked east on Market Street to where a municipal work crew had called 911 to report the incident. Very quickly, Officer Ramirez and his partner, Officer Schlegel, appeared on the scene before any other responding officers or EMT personnel had arrived. Ramirez and Schlegel noted my description of the attack and of the attackers, and they noted that the video evidence would soon be automatically available on my YouTube channel, SavageAudits. Officers Ramirez and Schlegel quickly ensured that the descriptions that I gave them were communicated to their fellow officers and took note of the large bloody wounds upon my person. And then Officer Ramirez had me lean face forward against a parked truck while he held my wounds closed with both of his hands. The quick, decisive, and wise actions of Officer Ramirez slowed the flow of blood and brought me comfort, both physical and psychological. The manner in which Officer Ramirez and Officer Schlegel approached this crisis situation and the fashion in which they spoke instilled me with the confidence of knowing that the cavalry of the San Francisco Police Department had arrived, that they had sent their finest officers, and that I was truly in good hands. Officer Ramirez remained with his hands well placed on the wounds on my back, pressing me firmly against the truck, stemming the blood flow for several minutes until EMTs arrived, took me into their care, bandaged my wounds, and placed me on a gurney and then loaded me into an ambulance. An SFPD squad car followed the ambulance to the hospital, where Officer Ramirez then entered the operating room in which I was being attended to by hospital staff. It was there that Officer Ramirez took additional notes and had me reiterate exactly where on the internet he could find my evidence of the attack. He also provided me with a reportee follow-up paperwork, which he placed in my wallet for safekeeping, for which I was grateful. In closing, I would like to add the following. In this era of a disturbing increase in hysteria related to the public's perception of the role of race in our society, particularly as relates to the traditional duties of policing, I would like it to be noted that I am an American man who bears some African lineage. Obviously, racial concerns should have no bearing on the matter about which I am writing this letter, but as some persons in this chapter of American history continuously insist on folding racial themes into their divisive political narrative, I feel compelled to specify as a black person my gratitude for the actions of the San Francisco Police Department personnel in this matter, specifically those of the Tenderloin Station and of Officer Ramirez and of Officer Schlegel. I will be forever grateful for their assistance on that night. Sincerely, redacted.